Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Talk to Me, a place where vibrant conversations meet the pulse of life. I'm Lazarus, I'm your host, and in today's episode, I'm joined by someone I've always wanted to have on the show. I'm talking about Flavio Nicolau, someone I met at Casa da Juventude. He is an English teacher and a programmer, and today he's being joining us to talk about dealing with perfectionism is going to be the topic of today's conversation. Flavio, how are you, and what are your expectations for today's episode?
Well, I'm great, and for today's video or podcast, I hope to have that great sensation, and it's really a pleasure, an honor to be here with my friend Lazarus. Yeah, that's great.
Okay, so that's really good.
Yeah,
So being an English speaker is good here in Angola, right?
of course it is.
Yeah, well, you have opportunities of doing lots of things. Like you're working as a
English teacher,
and right now, where's you like to work as an English teacher?
what I like?
You like it?
Yeah,
A lot sunny, right?
not really, not really. Well, in fact, I really appreciate it. I like to share what I know with people,
Yeah.
and it makes me feel that great. And like, especially when I see my students speak in English, like like my products, and I feel like, yo,
That's it. Like, oh, I made them speaking.
yeah, that's really great.
Speak the language.
Yeah, I feel so proud of that.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. I also work as an English teacher. Although I don't teach very well, I don't have students. Unfortunately, I don't understand what.
Serious?
I just kidding. Okay. Today we'll be talking about dealing with perfectionism, right?
Yep, of course.
And I've got a few questions I'm going to ask you, and I would like to start with the first one. So I just hope you feel comfortable answering the questions. Okay, I'm going to grill you. Okay, so the first question is, how can you tell if perfectionism is helping or harming you?
Um, well, first of all, we can tell if perfectionism is harming us when we just find ourselves setting like unrealistic and unattainable standards or goals, and also when we feel like not motivated by challenges, and also when we fear failures, and when we procrastinate a lot, and when we just like avoid tasks in order to not being exposed to like criticism. And because we perfectionists all usually just want to be like perfect, like, and
Yeah,
those are,
not to be perfect.
yeah,
At least to do things perfectly.
like
No errors, no.
they just want to avoid criticism, so
Yeah.
they try to be really perfect.
Yeah, so that's that what you said. I like what you said. Like they are constantly criticizing themselves of doing things that are not like perfectly done. So that's something people should not do with themselves, because when you do this, perfectionism is harming you. Every time you make a mistake, you make a mistake, you are there telling yourself, "Oh, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do this kind of stuff. You should focus on that and not doing that." So this is how perfectionism can harm someone.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, it is.
And have you ever felt like perfectionism, being perfect was harming you, or you ever experienced something like this before?
Well, I don't think so.
You don't think so? I think
Well,
everybody.
but I think no. In fact, I think I've already like
Experience.
experienced that.
Yeah.
Like, I think when I was just learning English, if I'm not mistaken, like
Yeah.
I used to have that kind of perfectionistic behaviors, but
Bad behavior.
I've gotten it over. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think many people, thank you so much. You mentioned English. Once our listeners are English speakers, many people have this problem when they are learning English. They always want to sound perfect. So you see people when filming videos. I think there was once I posted on Facebook something related to this. Like people always editing their videos in order to sound perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So they always want to sound perfect. So that's something that we should focus on. So like trying to sound perfect in English. And this leads me to another question, like how does perfectionism affect your progress in learning English?
Well, first of all, perfectionists tend to like avoid being like like surrounded by a lot of people because they just don't want to like to be in a place where they can make mistake and be like called out in it. So that really affects us a lot once we're related and English learners, right? Like if you're trying to learn but you feel afraid of making mistakes, so that can make you like um not be like surrounded by people so that you can be criticized by that.
Yeah, I always like to join in practices every single time. Like when my friends are practicing, I always like to join in those practice. And I always see people not speaking because they are afraid of making mistakes.
It happens a lot.
Yeah, like everyone is speaking, but there will always be that one person sitting not saying anything, and you try to, hey, well, why don't you speak? They're always like, you guys are perfect. So I don't want to make mistake.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't even say that in English. They say that in Portuguese because they are afraid of making mistakes, even when talking to someone that is just trying to know what is happening. Like people are always afraid of making mistakes every single time when it comes to English, and that can be a barrier for them to learn the language.
In fact, there's no such thing as perfect. So
Yeah.
we're going to continue to make mistakes and we're going to learn from our mistakes.
Yeah, so that's what people miss a lot. Like when you make mistake, that's not like you're only making mistakes. So you need to analyze your mistakes and see what you can learn from that.
Yeah.
So people don't want that.
Yeah.
People don't want that.
People usually just forget about that. Like they are just like they don't value our mistakes.
Yeah,
In fact, our mistakes are really important because they help us to do different next time. Yeah.
yeah. Next time, like if we make a mistake,
We shouldn't really put our mistakes aside because they really help us a lot. Like you if you make mistake right now, you're gonna know that next time you gotta do something different, right?
yeah.
So yeah.
So that happens when you learn from your mistakes. When you take time to analyze and think about what you did.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, what you did or what you said. Like, oh, okay, I did this, or I said this. I don't want this to happen again. So next time I need to do this. I have to do that.
And by the way, there's like a saying that says like um anyone who has never made a mistake has never tried anything new.
Yeah, I like this.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah, everyone.
Who has never made a mistake has never tried something new.
Yeah, because when you try something new,
Yeah,
you're always going to make mistakes.
try to make mistakes and you learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, and I think mistakes are also one way of showing you that that's not the right way of doing the thing you want, right?
Yeah,
So
it is.
if you see someone trying to do the thing you did, you can like share what happened to you when you first tried, like the mistake you made and how you learned from that mistake, so that the other person cannot, I mean, doesn't really go through everything you went through.
Yeah, of course. Like sometimes we just don't have to go through like the same old stuff because there are people that who have been through the same situation being like we might be going through at the moment. So we have like to like go to people and ask for help
Yeah.
because sometimes they have a lot of experience, so they may share like what they have been through with us.
So, do you consider yourself a perfectionist?
No, I don't think so.
Why?
Because I think that I don't think I have like a first now a perfectionistic traits because perfectionists are all about doing things perfectly, and I know that I'm not perfect, so uh I really see myself, and I don't really think I'm a perfectionist.
Yeah. So that I mean, I don't consider myself a perfectionist, but people sometimes, I mean, every time they expect me to be perfect. Like when you are constantly on the internet filming videos and stuff, people always want you, I mean, expects you to sound perfect.
Oh yeah, of course. You bring up a good point. Like it happens all the time with English students. They think that teachers know everything.
Sure.
Once they don't really know everything, they continue to learn and like because knowledge is an ongoing process. So people continue to learn every single time.
Yeah, but sometimes it doesn't. I mean, it happens to students, but also we have people that are expecting you to make mistakes. Like people, what you are always on the internet filming videos and teaching and every time. So people want you to make mistake and to point like, oh, that's mistake. Okay, yeah, to point that out like, oh, he also makes mistakes.
I think it happens when the person brags about all the time, like I'm the one, and I know
Yeah,
a lot. I know everything. So people are going to have that impression from you, and they're going to kind of like have those feelings, and they're going to expect you to make a mistake in order to to point that out, and I
yeah.
think it makes them feel good or something like
Yeah, it
yeah.
makes them feel good.
I
Like
think
so, oh, sometimes they think they are the only one who make mistake, and they just need to see another one making mistakes so that they feel like, oh, geez, I'm not the only one. He also makes mistakes. Yeah,
Yours, I know how it works. Yeah.
yeah, you know how it works.
Yeah.
So, what steps can you take to embrace your mistakes?
Um, First of all, recognize and admit your mistakes.
Yeah,
It's very important to acknowledge your mistakes as opposed to blaming external factors. Like, and we should just like value our, like we should acknowledge all the time because it helps us like being more like posted about things like
yeah,
and it helps us grow stronger.
yeah. But we also have to remind ourselves that nobody, nobody's perfect.
Yeah, of course.
Nobody. So we are trying to be perfect with people that are not perfect. So that's a problem.
A big problem.
That's a big problem. We want to be perfect, but people that are around us, the people around us, are not perfect. They're not perfect. Yeah.
It's really outlandish. Like I think there's no such thing as perfect,
Yeah.
like I said. So it makes no sense trying to be perfect.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. That makes no
like
sense.
in fact, when we try to be perfect, we may um like achieve to excellence or something, but never perfection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever felt like not being perfect, like not being a perfectionist was not helping you? Like once you felt like I need to be perfect, I need to do this perfectly.
Well, once I understood that perfectionism like prevents us from learning a lot of things, I really understood that yeah, that's really bad for me, and being a perfectionist, sorry, is really bad. Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes we need to agree that sometimes we need to be perfect. And don't you agree with me?
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you.
No, wait, you don't. You just say, if you don't, you just say, I don't agree with you. We are going to accept some, maybe we're going to fight, but that's no problem. Yeah, but it's worse that, yeah. So, like, I think sometimes we really have to be perfect. Like, we have to do things perfectly. When you want to, I think impressing uh is not actually a bad thing.
Well, I don't think so. Yeah. I don't think so. I think that even if we try to be perfect, like we're not gonna be perfect. Like because as human being we are, we're subjected to commit a lot of mistakes. Like not a lot of mistakes actually, but we're going to make mistakes somehow. Like we may try to be perfect, and by trying to be perfect, we may um like get to excellence or achieve excellence, and that's great.
Okay, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I was actually trying to see your perspective on that.
Okay.
Yeah. So you think people that are constantly trying to be perfect should change their perspective, or that's I mean, if they are perfect, they continue to be perfect and so.
Oh well, I think that they can continue to try to do things perfectly, but they have to like to control their emotions sometimes because when they overdo, it can cause a lot of problems.
So we have a burnout when people are always trying to be perfect. Then they're going to have burnout. and they are constantly going to be tired. When you are constantly trying to be perfect, one day you are going to be we are not going to be perfect, and people are going to say, he's always trying to be like, oh, see the guy he is, or the girl she is, and stuff. So I think we should show to people that we are not perfect, and that we make mistakes. Even in the internet, I mean, on the internet, if you make mistake, let it be. People have to understand that you are a human being and you make mistakes.
Of course.
And mistakes are to be made.
And when we make mistakes and people point that out, you can feel bad
Yeah.
because that's just a way to help us learn more and know what to do or what step to take next time.
Okay, so in a nutshell, making mistakes is not a problem.
Of course, it is not the problem.
What's the problem?
The problem is trying to be perfect or trying to be perfect and like try to give people the impression that you can do everything perfectly.
Yeah. So I think let's end this episode by saying that sounding or being perfect is not bad. The bad thing is you trying to sound perfect.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so this was the third episode with
Flavio Nicolau.
Flavio Nicolau and Lazarus Sebastian, your host. Thank you so much for watching this episode. If you like it, I just want you to share with your friends and your students if you are an English teacher, and see you in the next episode.